Did you see what just happened in women's basketball? Caitlin Clark turned down $1 million deal. You might be thinking, who says no to that kind of money? But wait, it gets even more interesting. Aja Wilson jumped in right after and made sure everyone knew she got offered even more. Now you're probably wondering, what's really going on here? Is there something bigger happening behind the scenes?
But it is delusional to believe that Aja Wilson would have been paid more than Caitlin Clark. And the only people that could possibly believe that are sources close to Aja Wilson.
You might be thinking, who turns down $1 million? Well, Caitlin Clark just did. Unrivaled came knocking with a deal most players only dream about: big money and a chance to change the game. They weren't messing around. This was their shot to land the biggest star in women's basketball, and they went all out. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark said no. Why would the hottest name in the sport walk away from this golden opportunity? Let's break down what Unrivaled put on the table. Because it wasn't just about the cash. They signed her friends, giving Clark a chance to play with her college teammates. They partnered with her favorite brands, making sure she'd feel right at home. Unrivaled practically begged her to join, rolling out the red carpet and then some. They thought they had it all figured out. Who could say no to that? The president even assured her there would always be a spot for her in the future. Talk about desperation.
He said, "We're always going to have a roster spot for Caitlin Clark. We are not applying a full court press the way people think. We are letting her decompress from basketball. She knows that we have a spot for her when she's ready."
Clark could, that's who. And her decision wasn't about the money, it was about something much bigger. You see, Clark isn't just thinking about the next season or the next big paycheck. She's playing the long game. She wanted a break from basketball to take a step back and breathe. After an incredible college career, can you blame her? Clark's looking to reflect on everything she's achieved and gear up for her WNBA future. She's not just rushing into the next big thing, she's making sure she's ready for it.
I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast, and then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team and kind of move on and put all that behind me and help this team, get back to the playoffs. So I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflecting back.
Now you might be wondering, what happens when the star player says no? Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Unrivaled thought they had it all figured out. They put all their eggs in the Caitlin Clark basket. But Clark had other plans.
But Caitlin Clark, the pursuit of her was, of course, the biggest story around the league. And one of the lead investors said bringing her in would be the single biggest possible thing.
This isn't just about one player saying no to one offer, it's about a shift in power. Clark proved that players can take control of their careers, prioritizing their own goals over quick cash. She's setting a new standard for how athletes manage their paths. And let's be real, this move has everyone talking. Fans are praising Clark's focus and humility. They're seeing her as a true leader, someone who's thinking beyond just the next game or the next season. Clark's not just playing basketball, she's changing how the game is played off the court.
And it was like, oh, she's a shooting star. She's a phenom. She drew the people in.
So what's next? Well, that's the $1 million question. Unrivaled is left scrambling, trying to figure out their next move. And the basketball world? They're watching closely, wondering if this is the start of a new era in women's sports. One thing's for sure, Caitlin Clark just changed the game, and we're all waiting to see what she'll do next. Remember how Caitlin Clark left Unrivaled scrambling? Well, they weren't the only ones making moves. Aja Wilson decided to step into the spotlight, and her timing couldn't have been more suspicious. Was this a power play or just a coincidence? Just hours after Clark's $1 million rejection hit the news, Wilson's team dropped a bombshell of their own. They leaked that Unrivaled had offered Wilson even more money than Clark. Can you believe it? It's like they were saying, oh, you think $1 million is a lot? Well, get a load of this.
Is claiming they offered Aja Wilson more money than Caitlin Clark to play in this league.
But here's the thing, why did Wilson's team feel the need to tell everyone about this offer? It's not like Wilson accepted it. In fact, she turned it down too, so what was the point? Fans were scratching their heads, trying to figure out what was really going on. Was this about the money, or was there something else at play? Wilson claimed she needed rest, just like Clark. She said she wanted to focus on her off-season planning.
Clark turned it down. Aja just honestly likes to rest her body. She doesn't want to play year-round. and she's an outlier where just on pure basketball, it's a 3-on-3 league, it's not a 5-on-5 league, and it wasn't a great fit for her.
But come on, the timing of her announcement, it raised more than a few eyebrows. It's like she was saying, hey, don't forget about me. I'm a big deal too. And you know what? Fans started to notice a clear difference between how Clark and Wilson handled things. Clark made her decision quietly, without any fuss. She didn't need to tell the world she was offered $1 million. She just said no and moved on. But Wilson, she made sure everyone knew about her decision. It's like she wanted to be the main character in a story that wasn't even about her. Can you imagine being in a room with both of them right now? The tension would be through the roof.
It almost comes across like Asia wanted it out there that she was going to get more because of all the attention Clark received. And I got news for you. Unrivaled is not dumb enough to have offered Asia Wilson more than Caitlin Clark, unless they just thought that it was a sure guarantee she would take it, right? But either way, it doesn't compute.
This isn't the first time Aja Wilson has stirred up controversy. Take her Nike shoe launch, for example. It wasn't just about cool kicks. It turned into a full-blown drama that fired up fans, with many accusing her of delaying other players' shoe releases just to steal the spotlight. Can you believe that?
According to sports business reporter Ethan Strauss, he reports Nike wants to prioritize Asia Wilson and it fears the optics of giving a rookie a signature shoe before an already established star who just won league MVP for the third time.
Aja tried to play it cool, talking about how much fun it was to design her shoe. She said, "A lot of hard work, but also a lot of fun. I have an awesome team trying to put my weird words into a shoe," which is crazy, because I'm like, I want the thing that goes the thing. And they're like, okay, we got it. But fans weren't buying it. They thought she was just trying to make everything about her again. But wait, it gets even wilder. Remember that winning isn't for everyone ad campaign? Talk about bad timing. Aja dropped that line right before her team, the Aces, got absolutely crushed by the Liberty in the playoffs. It's like she was asking for trouble. Social media went crazy. People were roasting Aja left and right. One fan even joked, winning may not be for everyone, including Aja Wilson herself. Ouch, that's gotta sting. You might be thinking, is Aja doing this on purpose? Is she trying to stir up drama? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure, she knows how to keep people talking about her. It's like she can't help but be at the center of every controversy in women's basketball. The basketball world was buzzing, but not in the way Unrivaled hoped. Instead of talking about their exciting new league, everyone was focused on these two superstars turning them down. And now people are wondering, what went wrong? How did Unrivaled's big plans fall apart so quickly?
Because without Caitlin Clark, the only place these ratings are going is directly in the pooper.
One thing's for sure, this whole situation has exposed some serious cracks in Unrivaled's strategy. They put all their eggs in two baskets, and both baskets said no thanks. Now they're left trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what to do next. But with all this drama, will anyone even care about their league anymore? Unrivaled's big plans for women's basketball are crumbling fast. Their confidence in signing Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson backfired spectacularly when both stars said no. Now, the league is in a tailspin, struggling to stay relevant before they've even played a game. Can you believe they didn't even have a backup plan? The league's social media presence went from hype to embarrassing overnight, exposing just how unprepared they were for this setback. Fans are asking tough questions. How can Unrivaled survive without its biggest stars? Will anyone even want to watch the games now?
If this financially is run this poorly, and they don't understand marketing, they don't understand ratings this badly, whether it's somebody with TNT Sports or the league or both, oh, this league is hell. I don't. What's worse than being dead on arrival? I don't know what it could be, but this would be the dumbest decision ever.
This isn't just Unrivaled's problem anymore. The league's co-founders, Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, made some big promises about lucrative contracts and player-friendly schedules. Now everyone's wondering if they can deliver on any of it. Fans are calling out Unrivaled for its misleading marketing tactics, accusing the league of using Clark to promote itself while merely cashing in on the hype without offering anything substantial. So what's Unrivaled doing now? They're scrambling, trying to prove they're still relevant in the women's basketball world. But let's be real, it's going to be an uphill battle. They're like a team down by 20 points in the fourth quarter, desperately trying to make a comeback.
We'll see how Unrivaled does. Without Caitlin Clark, they could still succeed, but we know what it would have meant if they had secured her on one of those rosters.
So what do you think? Is this the end for Unrivaled, or can they turn things around? One thing's for sure, the world of women's basketball will never be the same after this. We're all watching to see what happens next, and something tells me there are still more surprises in store. Can you believe what Caitlin Clark just did? She turned down $1 million deal, and it's shaking up the entire game of women's basketball. Clark's decision wasn't about the money at all. She's focused on her long-term goals and the impact she can have on the sport. This move is setting a new standard for how players can control their careers. Fans are absolutely loving Clark's approach. They're praising her humility and focus, seeing her as a true leader who's not just in it for fame or money. She's showing everyone what real success looks like in women's basketball, even as the biggest name in the league, outshining even Aja Wilson.
Because there is no universe from a popularity and a draw standpoint where she is worth more than Caitlin Clark. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. It's not on the same planet. And that's not to be disrespectful. That's just based on the metrics, the numbers, the attendance, the ratings, any way you can measure any of these things.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember Aja Wilson's reaction right after Clark's decision? Wilson made sure everyone knew about her big offer, and it came across pretty different from Clark's quiet approach. This contrast between Clark and Wilson exposed a bigger issue in women's sports. It's not just about how well you play anymore. It's about your personal brand and your influence off the court. Now everyone's watching to see how this will change the future of women's basketball. Clark's decision is shifting the power dynamics in the sport. It's changing the way players, fans, and even leagues think about women's basketball. Players are realizing they can be the ones calling the shots, prioritizing their long-term goals over short-term gains. So what do you think? Are we seeing the start of a new era in women's basketball? One thing's for sure, the game is changing, and Clark just showed everyone that players have more control than ever before. It's exciting to think about how this might reshape the sport in the years to come. Can you believe what Caitlin Clark just did? She didn't just say no to $1 million deal. She changed the entire game. Clark's decision wasn't about the money. It was about taking control of her own future. She showed everyone that players can call the shots in women's basketball. This might be the turning point we've all been waiting for. Think about it. Clark's move could inspire other players to take charge of their careers. We might see more athletes prioritizing their long-term goals over quick cash. It's like Clark just opened a door, and now everyone's wondering who else will walk through it. So what do you think? Is this the start of a new era in women's basketball? Are we going to see more players following Clark's lead? One thing's for sure, the game is changing, and Clark just showed us that players have the power to shape the future of women's sports. The ball's in their court now, and we can't wait to see what happens next.